Hello, hello, hello. We are on, we are connected. It's Taisha, aka Miss Legacy Empowerment Services. And I am coming on today. I'm going to wait for a little while so that people can join us. Let's see if some people will join us. Let's see if I can share with some people. How is everyone doing tonight? I still don't know how to share on Facebook or invite people on Facebook when I do a live. So it just is what it is, you guys. But I wanted to come on really quickly to talk about a few things. I wanted to have some chit chat with some moms, and I'm hoping some moms will come on. It's pretty late. It's about 8:30 where I am. And while people are checking on, I'll just tell you about who I am. I am Taisha Presley. I'm the owner of Legacy Empowerment Services. I am a private practice located in Charlotte, North Carolina. I work with individuals who have adolescents and young adults who have experienced some type of dysfunction or some type of trauma, early childhood. And I help them what I call rehabilitate their lives. And so what that simply means is that, hey, Avis, what that simply means is creating a life that is different or the same as if the trauma or dysfunction never happened. So I help people rehabilitate their lives. And so I think it was Monday morning. I was just kind of walking around thinking and just kind of doing my own little thing throughout the day. And the thought came to my mind that, I bet there are some parents that are really feeling triggered right now and don't have any support. And I worked for a very long time, almost 10 years, in a day treatment program. And what day treatment is for those... Oh, you can't hear me, Avis? Oh, no. You can't hear me. I wonder why you can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, Avis? Hey, Sharon. Sharon, can you hear me? Oh my goodness. Let's see. You can hear me, Sharon? Okay, so Sharon can hear me. So Avis, maybe if you log out and then log back in, you can hear me now? Okay. I was going to say that maybe if you log out and then log back in, you may be able to hear me a little better. But I was just saying that I spent about 10 years working in a day treatment program. And for those who are not familiar with what a day treatment program is for adolescents or children that are not able to function in a regular school. So they may have behaviors that are explosive. They may have behaviors that just somehow impair their ability to function in school. So they get pulled out of school for medical reasons, and they get transitioned over into the program that we work at, and we help them to learn skills so that they can be successful at school. And so a lot of times what I found when doing family sessions with the moms of day treatment kids is that moms were feeling, and even dads, but moms particularly, were feeling really stressed out. As a matter of fact, I'm in a lot of mommy groups. And so I posed this question to some of the mommies in the mommy group about how they're doing. We just did like a check-in. And many of the moms, unfortunately, were feeling so overwhelmed. And some of them, surprisingly, believe it or not, are scared of their children. You wouldn't ever think it, but a lot of times parents actually have fights with their kids. Sometimes parents not only fight with their kids, but parents, feel fearful of being in the home with their children. And so I wanted to come on and just touch base with those parents. I know that I'm not here for everyone, but I really wanted to come on and touch base with parents who may be feeling really overwhelmed right now because of their child's mental health condition or because of their own mental health condition. And I wanted to just encourage you and let you know that, we are here for you. We are here to support you. And Avis and Sharon, how are you doing tonight? We are here to support you, and you have a network within us. So let's talk about some tips for moms that may feel triggered right now. So I wrote down some tips because, I will not stay on track if I do not write down my tips. So some tips. Let's start by being proactive, okay? So the first thing is being proactive, joining a support group for yourself, not for the kids, not for daddy, but for yourself, finding support. And right now, because during the coronavirus pandemic, we are social distancing. In Mecklenburg County, we are actually, as of tomorrow, we are being asked to stay in place, stay at home and not go out. Well, we can go out, but, practice social distancing. And so a lot of the support that we are receiving right now is virtually. And so I encourage people to plug into virtual supports. And so there are a ton of supports. If you go on my page, Legacy Empowerment Services, or even my personal page, Taisha Presley, I've been posting or trying to repost links to support groups for moms. Or if you just Facebook search mom support groups or mental health and children, a lot of support groups will come up. I've been, even phone calls, we've been doing Zoom calls and phone calls for moms to receive that support. And what that does, it just places you in a position to stay regulated and to be proactive within yourself. Ava said, doing pretty good. Just let the boys go on patio to play. They were getting overwhelmed in the house. Absolutely. We're going to get to that in a second, Ava. So I thank you for bringing that up. Oh, Sharon, you're tired. We're going to talk about that too. So number one, being proactive by plugging into and getting connected to supports. And you can find that a lot of them are online right now, being virtual and telephonic. Keeping your cup filled. And so keeping your cup filled can look so different for so many different people. For people that are faith-based, that could be prayer, that could be meditation, that could be, spending some time by yourself, listening to some nice, relaxing music, having fun and laughing it up with your girlfriends. But those are ways that you keep yourself filled, reading things that are very encouraging. Hey, Lisa. Reading material that's encouraging and that feeds your soul are ways that you keep yourself filled, so that when you are filled, you can then fill other people, specifically your children in the house. Preparation is so important. And so after you have kept yourself, after you have filled your own cup, Lisa, how are you doing today? After you have filled your own cup by making sure that you're plugged into a higher power, you're meditating, you're praying, you're listening to music. Even if you practice some exercising, those are ways that you keep yourself plugged in. You prepare for the day. And so I encourage people to have a plan about what they want to do for the day, for themselves. And we're going to get to the kids. We're just talking about yourself. So having a plan for yourself every day, having an agenda. And so what I find is that when we prepare for the day and we plan and we have an agenda for ourselves, it keeps us motivated and it keeps us regulated. And so having a plan for the day. Lisa, how are you doing? Kingston enjoyed his call today with Aiden. He looked forward to that call so much today. He really enjoyed it. So I appreciate that. So organizing yourself, having frequent breaks to rest, taking this is important. So if mommy, if you have your own mental health condition, it's really important, especially while we're staying at home, that you make sure that you get your prescriptions filled for any kind of mental health condition that you may have. And so if you can get in contact with your yeah, they were really good and they were really cute. That is so true. So make sure that you stay in contact with your psychiatrist. Make sure you stay in contact with your mental health therapist, so that they can know what your needs are and so that they can know how to help you, because that will help you keep your cup filled. So getting sleep is very important. I've been getting a lot of sleep because you guys all know that I'm expecting and the baby's going to be coming really soon. So I've been getting a lot of good sleep. Um, and making sure that you communicate that to your care team. And so if you need some support, like on the weekends, my son goes with his dad, and that's when I really get my time in. So making sure that you communicate with your care team, with your team, and make sure that they are supporting you. So taking your medication, getting really good sleep, exercise helps with that. It helps with self-regulation, because if we are regulated, we are better able to remain calm when things happen with our kids in the home. Lisa says that she's doing good and trying to stay balanced. Lisa, what are some things that you're doing that helps to keep you balanced? Avis, what are some things that you're doing that helps to keep you balanced? And Sharon, too, I would love to hear that in terms of self-care and being able to regulate yourself. And so, okay, so we talked about making sure that we are where we need to be. Let's talk about tips for managing kids in our home and staying regulated and staying balanced, like how Lisa is talking about. So the biggest thing for me has been to create a safe and engaging environment. And so I talked about planning for myself personally. I also plan for the house. And so what that looks like is me kind of coming up with an idea of how do I maintain peace in this house? How do I maintain calm in this house? And a lot of times my son is 8 years old. A lot of times I'll bring him in on the planning of everything. And so what that looks like is us sitting down for maybe the day before and saying, okay, this is what we're going to do tomorrow. This is what we're going to do tomorrow. We're going to spend some time doing some math. We're going to spend some time doing some reading. Then we're going to go out for a walk around the track, that type of thing. And that helps him to know what to expect, because kids, when the environment is predictable and when they know what to expect, it helps them to remain regulated and it helps them to comply, number two. And that's what we want. We want to make sure that the house is peaceful. So Ava says, my self-care is going for a walk and run time. That's your me time. Absolutely, Avis. Sharon says that prayer, quiet time early in the morning, and naps. I'm about that nap life right now, Sharon. And Lisa says, turning the phone off at night and taking breaks. Absolutely. Breaks are very important. I think I was just talking to Avis earlier today about taking breaks and allowing yourself to have that break. And number two, being patient with yourself. Sometimes we are not very patient with ourselves and we don't have a lot of self-compassion. We are very compassionate with our kids. We're compassionate with our coworkers. We're compassionate with everyone else. But when it comes to ourselves, we are not as compassionate. So practicing not only self-care, but self-love. So the same way that you extend that love to other people, you extend that same love to yourself because you need it the most. In order to be able to have that exchange with others, you need to feel compassionate and feel loving towards yourself. So absolutely, I love that feedback. My kids thrive on a schedule. I'm telling you, Sharon, kids thrive on a schedule. I don't care how old they are. Schedules work, routines work in every environment because it helps them to it helps them to predict what's going to happen, and that helps to make sure that kids feel safe. So when you have a schedule, it's basically saying that mommy's in charge, you don't have to worry about anything. That makes the kid feel safe. So absolutely, schedules help kids to thrive. All right, so creating a safe, engaging environment, bringing the kids on board with creating that environment is really important, because they're going to be the ones that are going to be practicing whatever you want them to practice. So why not have them involved with creating the schedule? And so I like to get that feedback from my child, and I encourage parents to do so as well. And I like that too, because it helps them to feel like they have some power. And even if that power looks like a forced choice, and people don't know this, but you can actually trick kids into doing what you want them to do by making the choice for them. So you can say, okay, do you want an apple or a banana? Because number one, you're going to eat a fruit. So which one do you want, an apple or a banana? And so really, whose choice was it? It was their choice, but mommy was in charge for making the two options. And so that's a way that you can kind of trick that you can kind of use to get them to do what you want them to do anyway. It's called a forced choice. Ava says, I agree. First day kind of let kids do whatever, and it was chaotic, but put them on a schedule and they understood and practiced boundaries and all. So I love schedules. Absolutely. Boundaries are so important. Boundaries are very important for everyone. Boundaries help you to stay safe, and it helps others to stay safe as well. So I love that, Avis. Have a realistic expectation. Let's dig into that, because a lot of times we look at other families and we kind of judge ourselves based on what the other family is doing and what they're posting on social media. And to be honest with you, social media is just full of highlights. No one is going to post like their lowest moments on social media. That's just not going to happen. And so when you are looking at social media and creating expectations for your home, that is setting you up for, hey, Erica, that is setting you up for failure right there, and setting you up for disappointment, because your family is different. Your family is going to be in a different place. So I encourage parents, start where your family is. Start where you are with your kids and where you are with yourself, and be very honest about where you are, because if you're honest with yourself, then you can't go anywhere but up from there. So what that looks like is, like, let's say, for instance, you and your kids never talk. And there are a lot of parents who, one kid stays on one side of the house and the parent is on the other side, and they never engage. Hi, Erica. And they never engage. And so it's not realistic for you to say, we're going to spend all day together and we're going to watch movies and, we're going to go ride bikes, because that's just not realistic for your family. But what you can do is say, maybe I'll spend 5 minutes with them today. And maybe that's a more realistic way of looking at it, as opposed to saying we're going to spend all day together and we're going to be lovey-dovey. Because number one, when you're trying to do that, they don't believe you. You don't believe yourself. And let's just be honest about that. And so creating realistic expectations about where you are in particular and where your children are is going to set your family up to grow. And then you can build on where you are. So let's say that same example, if you are spending 5 minutes with your kids at a day when you were not spending time with them at all, and then you get really good at that 5 minutes, and you get really good at that, hey, let's hang out, and everyone gets adjusted to that, then let's kind of move it up to 10 minutes. And then let's take it out the house for a little while. Next week, we can take it out the house and we can maybe walk around the track together. Though that's a way of being really, really realistic about what's happening in your home. So don't look at social media. I used to be notorious for looking at the Cosby Show and thinking that that's how my home was going to be. And I set myself up lovely because number one, my child is an extrovert and I'm an introvert. So that's not going to happen. And so sometimes you have to practice dosing, what we call dosing. And dosing is those small amounts of time that add up and build on the relationship and help to develop the relationship. So don't worry if you don't spend any time and you need to work your way up to spending more time, do it by dosing. So dosing small amounts of time, you may go over, because kids will tell you when they need the time from you. So they may come over and they may just come sit beside you. And what you moms and dads have to do is just notice when they're doing that. And so when they come and they sit beside you, that's letting you know, oh, I need some attention from mom. And so mom, that's your opportunity to give them that dosing. Give them a hug or give them a kiss or rub their head, say something nice to them. And that's going to help fill their cups so that when something happens, you can actually implement discipline and they won't take it the wrong way, because you have already filled their cup, just like how your cup is already filled. So having a realistic expectation is the way to go. So allowing kids to take charge, we talked about that earlier today. I would like to hear from you guys. Like, how do you allow your kid to take some charge and some initiative in the family planning and in how the day is going to go? How has that worked for you? Hey, Serena, how has that worked for you in terms of allowing the kids some responsibility in planning? I would love to hear that from you. So I'm going to go on. We talked about dosing. let's talk about in terms of dosing, let's talk about descriptive praise. I love descriptive praise because it is one of the best ways that you can encourage a behavior that you want to see. And so descriptive praise is describing what you see that you want to see more of. So let's say, for instance, I want my child to be more responsible in the house. I'm not going to go around talking about all the times that he is not, being responsible. I'm going to talk about the times that I see him being responsible because that's what I want to increase. So what you notice is what increases. What you comment on is what you see increasing. So you comment on the bad behaviors, you see bad behaviors. You comment on the good behaviors, you see good behaviors, because people like the feeling of being praised. People like the feeling of being encouraged. And so descriptive praise is just noticing when they're doing the right thing, commenting on it, and making a big deal about it. And that is how you get them, hey sugar, that is how you get them to do more of what you want them to do. Let's see. When managing unwanted behaviors, make sure that you stay regulated. So when you stay regulated, the kids stay regulated, and the house is regulated and peaceful. When you are not regulated, so if I'm at a 3, right? If I'm at a 3, the child will be at a 3. If I go to being a 7 and the child is at a 7, by me just calming back down to a 3 will get that person to calm down and come back to a 3 as well. So making sure that you stay regulated and calm helps the other person, helps your child to stay calm. Ava says, my boys set up their boundary time. They're so serious about it. They can say whatever is needed during that time, play anything, or even by themselves. I love that, Avis. And I love that because we unfortunately cannot, especially if we're working from home, we unfortunately cannot entertain our kids the whole day. They're going to be in charge of making sure that they're entertaining themselves and being independent themselves. And so, yeah, I love that. So they're able to say, okay, during this time, I can go outside in the backyard and climb the tree because that's what I enjoy doing. Or I can have, 30 minutes on the Xbox because I enjoy playing on the Xbox, or doing some reading by yourself. Absolutely. So boundaries. And sometimes so you have to say, we're going to take some time apart because we get on each other's nerves. So I find that being very honest with our children and with ourselves is really helpful for maintaining a healthy environment, because sometimes people do get on your nerves and you do need some time by yourself. And it's okay to say that in a loving way and get your needs met. So that is it. That's all I had. Those are the tips that I wanted to just come on. I wanted to just make sure that we all were just caring for one another and sharing resources, and knew that, you were going to be here for a while. We got three more weeks out here being at home. And so if you were feeling overwhelmed, make sure that you're reaching out to your support network. Make sure that you're doing things that fill your own cup first, and then filling your kids' cup. Making sure that you get plugged into your support team, with if that's a psychiatrist or a mental health therapist, if it's a yoga teacher, dance teacher, whoever, make sure that you stay plugged in with them so that you can make sure that you're practicing self-care and self-compassion, and then you extend that to your kids. And so you're welcome, Sharon. Or have a heart-to-heart, absolutely, have a heart-to-heart talk with them. Like, Ma, this really annoyed me when you did this. We do that a lot in my house. We do that a lot. Having heart-to-heart talks with your kids is so beautiful. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Erica. Having heart-to-heart talks is so beautiful. And I think that I feel like if you establish a relationship with people, you can say anything to them and it will be okay. So I feel it's the same thing with kids. Like, if we establish a really strong connection by just communicating and just being very honest and transparent and just saying, this is going to be hard for both of us, or I believe that this is hard for me. Like, we were not expecting to be in this house together for 21 days at a time and not being able to go out, or in limited fashion. So being honest with our kids and being honest with ourselves and saying, how do we get through this together? Because I want us to be successful. I think going at it that route in a compassionate way, I think that will really help your kids to come along and just everyone be okay, because that's what we want. We want a peaceful home environment where everyone is just regulated and calm and safe. We don't want people fighting one another. anything like that. So any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns about anything? My daughter and I are following the schedule. This is Serena. My daughter and I are following the schedule she had at school. Absolutely. She sits at the dinner table and works, and I'm in a different room working. We are eating breakfast and lunch together. I love that, Serena. I love that. So not only is she getting to be independent, but she is getting to, you guys have that time together as well. And so I love that. Good. Thank you for sharing that. So, all right. So if we don't have any other thoughts, comments, and concerns, hit me up on Legacy Empowerment Services if you feel like you need some extra support getting through these moments. Do you need to have all the answers to create a routine, or do you welcome suggestions? Absolutely, Erica. You do. Parents don't have, this is, I always say this, that parenting doesn't come with a handbook. Parenting does not come with a handbook. And so I think that in terms of, especially in terms of being really realistic with ourselves, sometimes we have to say, I do not know. I don't know. And son, daughter, I need some feedback from you about how we're going to make this work, because I don't want to be here either. I don't want to be here. You probably don't want to be here. You want to be with your friends. This is not what we planned. Okay. So how do we go from this is not what we planned to let's make this work? This is how we're going to make it work. So I absolutely, Erica, suggest that you bring the kids in, and even if that is on a daily basis, or even if you have like a family meeting once a day or once a week to kind of look at how did the previous week go, you can say, okay, this worked for me. This did not work for me. This is what I feel like could be better. This is where I need your help. I think that would help the family function better as a whole and move forward. So absolutely. I welcome suggestions from children. I think that they know the environment. Children study us just as much as we study them. So they know us, they know how to respond to us. They know everything about us because they have spent their lives studying us and learning how to function as children of us, right? And so I think absolutely that is really good. So, all right. Thank you guys so much. Again, this is Taisha. I am the owner of Legacy Empowerment Services, where I work with children. I work with adolescents and young adults recovering from dysfunctional upbringings, and I help them rehabilitate their lives. And I'm available for supporting you in these moments. If you need support, reach out to me, 704-916-9318, or tpresley@rehabilitateyourlife.com. Thank you.